Bengals at Chiefs Sunday evening. The line is flip-flopped like 20 times. The answer to what is the line is, it's very small. That's what the line is.
Let's just call it a coin flip.
Obviously, it's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, but just think about how different it feels this time around. You know, the Bengals, their defense was playing really well in last year's playoffs, and I thought that the game plans they trotted out in last year's playoffs were really good, even before getting to the AFC Championship. But it still felt like, oh man, they're squeezing everything they can out of this team based on some of their holes up front, just how big play dependent their offense was. Now you have this Bengals team that we talked about this, just feels every bit like a contender based on how many different ways that they can beat you on offense and on defense. This defense last year was really solid, really smart. They've been a top 7 unit this year when they were like a top 15 unit last year. They've gotten better. Every single argument that Bengals fans had about why this team would be better this season has come to fruition. The argument on defense was continuity will carry us. We'll be better because all of the pieces have played together. They're familiar with each other. Think about just how many different things they can do. One of my favorite parts about watching this Week 13 game over again was watching the Bengals secondary communicate. There are a couple different plays that really jump out to me. There was one where Kelsey motions down into a stack and they were playing man coverage, but they didn't switch in order not to give them a tell. They were just like, we don't have to worry about this. Like, just you get him when he goes, we're totally fine. There was another play where the Chiefs motioned. It was like a jet motion into that post wheel play action that we've seen a million times this season. And so Von Bell bumps out all the way outside against the motion, but they play cover 6 behind it. So they played quarters to that side with Von Bell as the cornerback, and they were just like, we got this. And they just passed it off beautifully. And it just looked like Mahomes almost threw an interception. It was like a perfect snap of cover 6 with the corner.
That pops a QB's brain. That doing shit like that pops your brain because you have to assume so much.
And just watching them do that, every argument about why, well, it's a veteran group and they'll get better with more time together. It's like, that's dicey, man.
I know, right?
Defense works. And that's exactly how it happened. And then on offense, it was, all right, if teams are going to put a roof over them and they're going to make them play a certain way that they couldn't play last year, what does it look like? And the argument was, it's a young team. Joe Burrow is a really good player. You don't think Joe Burrow is going to fucking figure this out? Part of me was like, I don't know. We'll see what
I don't know. We got to see it.
And guess what? They did. And so every single argument for why this team would run up against the ceiling, which I think were legitimate arguments, and we talked about a lot of them, they've smashed right through those ceilings on both sides of the ball, and it has been very impressive to watch.
It's kind of funny. It's the defense dictates games. You could feel the defense dictate what the offense can do, which is the Bengals defense. They control the games. They hold the pen last. We always talk about that. They dictate what you're doing. Watch what they just did to the Bills. It's remarkable what they did. They basically just didn't let them play football. they say, we're not letting you do anything you want to do, and good luck. And
it's crazy to me that he didn't get a single interview for a head coaching job.
It's remarkable.
It's really, really surprising to me that no one at least wanted to hear what he would have to say as part of that conversation.
Just some aspect. Hey, what do you look at for players? What do you look at when you're signing vets and scouting?
I want to do it just so I could steal for like a 3-hour conversation about what he told me.
I know. It's remarkable. I mean, honestly, I've never met the guy. I've never talked to him. I would go to bat for him just from what he throws out there every week. It's just an understanding of football and understanding of players. That they're one of the best coaches in the league, either side of the ball. I'll include special teams again here, of understanding what his players are good at and getting them in the right spots. And it's just remarkable that not even one interview, even a token interview, just to be like, hey, what's going on? What you got over there? What do you look at for defenders and stuff like that? It's just remarkable.
All right. Who's your X factor in this game?
The secondary playmakers for the Chiefs. I think MVS and Juju, they're going to have to make plays. You brought up the Kelsey stuff and you brought up the doubles and triple teams of that. Lou is smart. I think it's that somebody's gonna have to win in coverage. Somebody's got to win against zone. Someone's got to win against man. They're going to have a lot of 3rd and 4th downs where they're going to be the target and they got to win. Or if it's Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore, one of these guys is going to have to step up several times, or all of them have to step up 1-2 times each for the Chiefs to keep moving the ball.
I'm just going with the interior of the Bengals offensive line.
Love
If
it.
they can slow down Chris Jones, then I think they win the game.
Yeah.
I know that seems simple, but it just feels like they need him to consistently affect the game if they're going to win based on the way that this Bengals offense is playing.
That's explosive plays. And that's a cheap. Chris Jones is an explosive play guy for the defense. So that totally makes sense. My sub X factor was Andy Reid's brain. And my Andy Reid and running the ball, I think, is the my other X factor too. If trying to get, I think he's going for the urban. I think that's their goal. Is the 200. Really, that's their goal, is pulling off the urban.
All right, who wins?
So the Chiefs were my Super Bowl pick preseason. I have not wavered on them. I've doubled down on it. Mahomes is my MVP. If you begin the playoffs, Chiefs were my pick. Last week, Chiefs were my pick. Going with the Bengals. After saying all that, I just think they find an answer every time. I'm like, well, they mitigate all their problems. They highlight all their strengths. They know matchups. I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be maybe a little more low scoring than maybe that I think people anticipate. I don't even know what the total is at this top of my head, but I do think that the Bengals will find their answer. Joe Burrow is going to play smart. They're going to take care of the ball. I think they grind it out. I think it's going to be like a 23-20 game, something of that sort. A lot of field goals, a lot of drives, like or not a lot of drives, a lot of plays on drives. Like I think that we're going to see a lot of 8-10 play drives in this game.
I'm going with the Bengals too.
Wow.
I just think that a limited capacity Mahomes against a defense that is so good at putting you in a box, that box just becomes smaller.
Yep.
And I just have a lot of faith in what the Bengals have been able to do on both sides of the ball. I really do.
And rewatching that Week 13 game, because I remember I'm like, well, the Chiefs had a good day moving the ball and all that, but you're rewatching. It's like, yeah, well, that's Mahomes creating that.
It was hard.
It was hard.
It was a lot harder than
yes,
wanted to be for them on offense in that game.
Yes, and Mahomes gives you the most room for error, and that's what it is. It's a defensive coordinator that I trust to find ways to make it hard on what's already going to be playing on expert mode. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Sweet Lou over Mahomes' leg. That's how I can kind of sum it up right then and there.